However you identify, whomever you love, wherever you may be on your own spiritual journey, please know that for this hour, you are part of this one gathered congregation, and you are welcome here. And welcome also to those joining on Zoom. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Jim Hamilton. My pronouns are he, his, and him. I'm sitting in today as worship associate because Michael Gardner, who was scheduled to be here today, is under the weather. So let's wish Michael good wishes so that he's back on his feet shortly. It is my honor and privilege to be here assisting Reverend Dara Bryans in the pulpit today. So delighted to be here. We gratefully acknowledge the Patuxet Wampanoag people on whose ancestral lands we gather here today. We commit to support and honor their history and culture. After the formal service, we invite everyone to join us for coffee hour, for coffee, tea, snacks, and conversation. This is held in the Assembly Hall, which is reached through that door to my left. Just follow the crowd after the post-luve. If you are new or sort of new, we encourage you to use one of the red mugs so members of the congregation can be sure to give you a warm First Parish welcome. The conversation at coffee hour is really an extension of the service, and we encourage you to attend if you can. And today, especially, we have our holiday workshop during coffee hour, a chance to try your hand at a bunch of interesting crafts, so that should be fun. This being the first Sunday of the month, we will also have spoken joys and concerns from the congregation later in the service. And I do call your attention to the announcements in the order of service, and in this past week's UU News. If you're not getting that email every Thursday, please let someone know, maybe me, I can make sure it gets in, and so that you get those and see those. There will be a Vespers service in the sanctuary beginning at 6:30 on Tuesday, December 16th. Those have been fabulous, so we hope all of you will be able to attend that. And now, Carrie, I'd like to invite you to come forward for an announcement, and I'll have a little announcement in a moment about the fair.
I want to thank everybody that's already taken the tag for the Box Project Christmas presents. If you haven't, please stop by in the hall, and I will be there, and you can choose a tag to buy a present, put the tag, wrap it, put the tag on it, then bring it back to church next Sunday. And if you have any questions, please ask me while out there, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carrie. That bulletin board is right outside of the office, so have a look there and let's get all those tags taken care of. I wanted just to thank everybody. Yesterday was a really special day at the church with our holiday fair. I want to thank all of the volunteers, all of the donors, people who cleaned up, everybody who brought baked goods or made greens or did any of those things. It really is just an amazing community event that we have here at First Parish, and we should really be very proud of that. The day of the fair, my role I take as like the greeter. So I stand at the top of the steps and I talk to everybody who's coming in. My inspiration, many of you will remember George Anderson, who was active in this communication, in this congregation very much over the past, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Big man, always dressed in his holiday finest, and he really took the effort to greet people and make sure they were welcome. And I took my inspiration from that and tried to do that as well as I could. And it is amazing when you do have those conversations with people. People will come up and say, I've come to this fair year after year after year. One person told me it's part of their family tradition. And, to stand there and to have the wonderful aromas of the cafe and to hear the conversations going on and to see people going to the board and taking some of those tags, it just really is amazing. And so there are still, however, a couple of things left to do. I could use some help in the hip room downstairs. We need to clear that out and get some of the kids' things back into the kids' area so the hip room can be used for, I think we've got ESL classes going in there. Shagley is meeting there tomorrow night, so we really could use some help this afternoon after the craft fair cleaning that out. And the shed, it's a little bit of a mess. Carrie, we should talk. I want to be sure that the box project is going to be okay in there. I think it's all right, but it needs a little more work. So And by the way, you may be wondering what the number was. I just heard from Nancy Langren, who heads up our crew that gathers money for the fair, and we cleared $8,000 this year, and I think we're going to go a couple of hundred beyond that. So that's good news, but again, the number for me is almost less important than the community aspect of this event, which is really just incredible.
I like being out of the pulpit, but that chair is a little tall for me. Kind of stumbled copping out of it. Good morning. My name is Reverend Dara Bryans, and I'm the minister here at First Parish in Duxbury. I'm so glad to see all of you, and I had so much fun at the fair yesterday, so I want to add my gratitude and thanks to what Jim has already expressed. Our opening words this morning come from Rabindranath Tagore, a Bengali poet and writer, playwright, composer, philosopher, social reformer, and painter. Tagore was the recipient of the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913. He was only the second non-European to get a Nobel Prize. And our opening words are an adaptation of his poem, Gitanjali 58. I'll read the part of one. If you all would please join in with the part of many. These words should be in your inserts and or on the screen. Let all the strains of joy mingle in my last song. The joy that sets the twin brothers, life and death, dancing over the wide world.
The joy that sweeps in the tempest, shaking and waking all life with laughter.
The joy that sits still with its tears on the open red lotus of pain. And the joy that throws everything it has upon the dust and knows not a word. Our opening hymn this morning is Joy to the World, and it was written by the 18th century English Congregationalist minister, Reverend Isaac Watts. It's a paraphrase of Psalm number 98 from the Hebrew Bible. In our hymnal, the text has been altered to reflect our UU theology, so be aware the words might be a little bit different from what you're used to. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing hymn number 245, Joy to the World. Lyrics are in the gray hymnal and on our screen. lighting and doxology.
Let this flame be to us a symbol of the wholeness we seek.
Its brightness is like moon, lighting a path to faith and hope.
Its glow reminding us of the sacred bonds that link us to all living things.
Its radiance calling us to cast the light of freedom, justice, and peace upon all the world.
Yes, please be seated. Today is the second Sunday of Advent, a time of preparation and anticipation for our Christian siblings. As we light our Advent candles each week, we do so in the spirit of preparation, as a time of contemplation and discernment about new beginnings and the birth of change. Whatever your beliefs, you are invited to take part in this spiritual practice as we explore the themes of hope, peace, joy, and love in solidarity with our Christian siblings. On the second Sunday of Advent, we light a blue candle for peace, peace that is both an absence of war and peace that goes beyond the simple absence of war. This peace that asks us to hold all of creation with love and care. Peace that rests in the radical love which makes up the strands of our interconnected web. Peace that is possible when we live into the truth that we are all woven into a single garment of destiny. The truth that harm to no one is a harm to all. We light our candle of peace. Oops.
Now is the time in our service when our children head down to their religious exploration classes. If you would join me in singing This Little Light of Mine as we sing them out of our sanctuary. The lyrics are at 118 in the gray hymnal or in your orders of service and on the screen. We're a little discombobulated with Michael not here, so I'm going to introduce our joys and concerns. This is the time in our service when we share those joys that we bring with us into the sanctuary, as well as the sorrows that we hold in our hearts. We know that when we share these joys, our joys are amplified, And when we share the sorrows and concerns that are lying on our heart, we are able, hopefully, to lay those burdens down and be held together in community. If you have a joy or a concern or a care for our world to share, I invite you to come up to the podium and say your name and your pronouns if you'd like, share your joy or concern, and then light a candle.
Hi, I'm Lois Wood. Pronouns are she, her, hers. 1 year ago today, we adopted our adorable little dog, Penny. She was a homeless street dog on the island of St. Lucia in the Caribbean, starving, eating garbage. And now she's the happiest little thing in the world, and she loves every single human being she meets.
My name is Pat Slechta, she, her pronouns. It takes a lot for me to stand up here. It makes my heart race. But I just have a joy to share. Yesterday I had to miss the fair because I went to New York to celebrate the birthday of one of my dear friends. I think now we call them the Ride or Dies. We call ourselves the No Way In Out Club. There are 4 of us. And as we were driving home, I was kind of processing the day and my friendship with these 3 women. And I came to realize that it's not the high times or the low times that bond us together. It's the in-between times where we're just being together, sharing everyday things and family time with each other, and just such a joy. I am so blessed to be a part of this group of women.
I'm Kathy Bray. My pronouns are she and her, and I light a candle of concern for our Afghan family living in our parsonage. They had a baby niece die tragically this week. She was a twin, so it's very sad for them, and especially sad because they aren't there. Zia is not there to comfort her sister, so keep them in your thoughts.
Good morning. We are Rudy and Mary Langner, and we have a great joy to share with the birth of our latest grandchild, a daughter, Annabelle, to our son Eric and daughter-in-law Katie. She was born 2 weeks ago yesterday. Everybody's doing great.
Good morning. My name is Ted Lillis. My pronouns are he and him. The one candle is going to serve for a joy and a concern. The joy is that have a wonderful woman to work with over here to your left who helps handle all of the media and Zoom and everything. And my concern is that she's not going to be here next Sunday, and I will. So.
I'm Doug Carver. I'm going to light 2 candles. One is for sorrow because it's been a year and 4 months or so since we lost my son. Many of you know about that. One of those terrible fentanyl deaths. And but I still wouldn't bomb the fishing boats off of Venezuela. That's kind of pushing it. And it's that time of year when it's hard, and seeing the kids go out, that's kind of hard. But I'm glad I had them for 27 years. And I've got to light a candle for joy because I'm getting married in 2 weeks here down in the chapel. And my fiance, Renee Bithell, if you'd stand up and be embarrassed a little bit like I am right now. Thank you. And I'm going to try to be a little bit witty. My pronouns are AEIOU because I have no idea how to keep track of everybody anymore, and it didn't ever matter to me anyway. So everybody is who they are, and that's all that mattered to me.
I have a candle for the world, I care for the world. There was a cyclone that hit Southeast Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, and I think last I heard 1,200 people had died and 800 people are missing. I light a candle of sorrow and of prayer for those lives lost and their families who are trying to figure out how life goes on without their loved ones.
I will light a final candle, basically for all of those joys, concerns, thoughts for the world that reside in our hearts and are yet unspoken.
The 8th of December is the day when our Buddhist siblings celebrate Bodhi Day. That is the day on which Siddhartha Gautama attained enlightenment. In honor of Bodhi Day, I invite you now into a time of meditation. If you'd settle into your seats, soften your gaze or close your eyes, whichever is comfortable for you. Let go. Let go of your to-do list. Let go of your anticipations and your worries. Ground yourself in this time and in this space together. Be here now. Please take a deep breath in with me and out. With your mind's eye, look within you for that place where the spark of the divine resides. And if that language doesn't speak or resonate with you, please look within to find that place which connects you to all living beings, all people, all creatures, all plants, rocks, and soil. And when you have found it, I invite you to hold it gently in the loving hands of your heart. And as you hold this spark, this connection, breathe with me. Breathe in all of the love that resides in this community, all of the love in our sanctuary, and the love in the homes of those joining us from beyond our walls. Let that love fill your heart. And as you exhale, imagine that divine spark or connection is like a burning ember. And as you exhale, breathe out love, which fans that flame that ember into a flame. Again, breathe in love, and let your exhalation of love bring sustenance to that which connects us to all things. Continue with this love of breathing in and breathing out as we're held in a few moments of silence. And now with your next breath, I invite you to breathe in the pain, the sorrow, and injustice that exists in our world. And hold that breath in and allow it to filter down through your heart as it sifts through the love held within your heart. And let yourself feel that alchemical transformation of this pain and sorrow into connection, caring, and joy. As you exhale, breathe out love and joy into the world. Breathe in pain and injustice. Breathe out love and joy. We'll be held in silence as we continue this practice. We close our meditation with a prayer written by Shantideva, an 8th century Buddhist monk. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector of those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, a bridge for those with rivers to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without light, a place of refuge for those without shelter, and a servant to all in need, for as long as space endures, and for as long as living beings remain. Until then, may I too abide to dispel the misery of this world. May it be so, and amen. We'll be held in another brief moment of silence as we breathe in Shantideva's words and slowly come back from our time of meditation into our worship service together. Amen.
Our reading this morning comes from the Book of Joy, an interview with His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, written by Douglas Adams. What is this thing called joy? And how is it possible that it can evoke such a wide range of feelings? How can the experience of joy span from those tears of joy at birth to an irrepressible belly laugh at a joke, to the serenely contented smile during meditation? Joy seems to blanket this entire emotional expanse. Is joy a feeling that comes and surprises us? Or is it a more dependable way of being, I asked. For the two of you, joy seems to be something much more enduring. Your spiritual practice hasn't made you somber and serious. It's made you more joyful. So how can people cultivate that sense of joy as a way of being and not just a temporary feeling? The Archbishop and the Dalai Lama looked at each other, and the Archbishop gestured to the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama squeezed the Archbishop's hand and began, "Yes, it is true. Joy is something different from happiness. When I use the word happiness, in a sense, I mean satisfaction. Sometimes we have a painful experience, but that experience, as you've said with birth, can bring great satisfaction and joyfulness." The Dalai Lama, by uniting his situation of living in exile with others in the world, was enlarging his identity and seeing that he and the Tibetan people were not alone in their suffering. This recognition that we are all connected, whether Tibetan Buddhist or Way Muslims, is the birth of empathy and compassion. Still, some might wonder what our own joy has to do with countering injustice and inequality. What does our happiness have to do with addressing the suffering of the world? In short, the more we heal our own pain, the more we can turn to the pain of others. But in a surprising way, what the Archbishop and the Dalai Lama were saying is that the way we heal our own pain is actually by turning to the pain of others. It is a virtuous cycle. The more we turn toward others, the more we experience, and the more joy we experience, the more we can bring to others. The goal is not just to create joy for ourselves, but, as the Archbishop phrased it, to be a reservoir of joy, an oasis of peace, a pool of serenity that can ripple out to all those around you. Joy is, in fact, quite contagious, as is love, compassion, and generosity. Here ends our reading.
Sorry, logistics this morning. This is the time in our service when we accept the morning's offering. This offering goes to support the life and work of this church, all of the good works that we do trying to alleviate suffering and to bring joy and peace to our world. Please give as generously as you are able. if the ushers could please come forward. Oh, and I'm going to invite you all to sing along with this song. If you know it, please join in. Thanks, choir, for singing that song. I really was excited to hear that one today. What is the nature of joy? Seems like a simple question to me. Joy's happiness, I thought. Turns out, except when it's not. According to the Dalai Lama, joy is natural. It is our birthright. One of the Four Noble Truths, however, in Buddhism is that being human means that we feel pain and that we suffer. He also said that a good life is spent in the pursuit of happiness. Suffering, challenges, difficulty, and pain are roadblocks and speed bumps in that pursuit. So while joy is natural, it is balanced with, or perhaps bound up with, human struggles. Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who was undergoing chemotherapy during the time he was with the Dalai Lama and that they talked and spoke about joy. He was no stranger to pain. He likened joy to the happiness we experience when we struggle through a difficult time. He used childbirth as an analogy. The mother feels great pain, but gains much joy when the child is born. There's suffering, but the suffering brings about something good, like ridding a body of cancer. And much of this book of joy is taken up with the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop's conversations about the relationship between suffering and joy. Suffering as a human condition is a state of being that connects us, in fact, with one another. Joy is deeper than pleasure and enjoyment. It's possible when we cultivate that empathy, when we understand that we are joined in our suffering by the rest of humanity. It builds our compassion for ourselves and for others. Joy becomes possible when we develop a deep sense of empathy and this understanding that in our suffering, in our challenges that life brings, we are united with all of humanity. Feeling this connection brings that empathy and compassion and motivates us to engage intentionally in alleviating the suffering of others. These actions and these choices bring about joy. So the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop both agree that joy is a choice. It's more than an emotion. It's a way of life. It's a practice, a spiritual practice, if you will. So to feel joy, to experience joy, we need to look beyond our personal needs and wants. Joy is not me-focused. Joy is intimately tied with gratitude and generosity, to forgiveness and humility, and perhaps most of all, it is centered in compassion and acceptance. Joy comes when we choose to make these values central to who we are and how we live our lives. Welsh poet, author, and philosopher David Whyte, in his book Consolations, writes about joy. He says, "Joy is a meeting place of deep intentionality and self-forgetting. The bodily alchemy that lies inside us in communion with what formerly seemed outside is now neither, but becomes a living frontier, a voice speaking between us and the world. Joy can be made by practiced, hard-won achievement, as much as by an unlooked-for passing act of grace arriving out of nowhere. Joy is a measure of our relationship to death and our living with death. Joy is an act of giving ourselves away before we need to or are asked to. Joy is practiced generosity. If joy is a deep form of love, it is also the raw engagement with the passing seasonality of existence, the fleeting presence of those we love understood as a gift. Going in and out of our lives, faces, voices, memories, aromas of the first spring day or a wood fire in winter, the last breath of a dying parent as they create a rare, raw, beautiful frontier between loving presence and a new, blossoming absence. These experts on joy who I turned to seem to all be in agreement that joy is a commitment to a deep intentionality of practicing gratitude, empathy, generosity. Joy is experienced when we are in relationship with one another and our world. The nature of joy lies in this communion between what is inside us and in the world outside. Joy is a deep form of love. Yes, I agree. Joy is a deep form of love. It is deeply connected to our love for the people in our lives, for our fellow human beings, and for our planet. And I think that this might be what Zadie Smith was intending when she wrote in her New York Review article about joy, that The thing no one ever tells you about joy is that it has very little real pleasure in it. Might be useful to distinguish between pleasure and joy. Occasionally, my child, too, is a pleasure, though mostly she is a joy, which means, in fact, she gives us not much pleasure at all, but rather that strange admixture of terror, pain, and delight that I've come to recognize as joy, and now must find some way to live with daily. I don't know about you, but I deeply resonate with Zadie Smith's words. Loving another person or being a parent is like having your heart live outside of your body. I have frequently felt joy of this nature, that strange admixture of worry and fear and delight throughout my children's childhood. It was this strange mixture that had a profound impact on my life. My mom, she was a preacher's kid. My grandfather was a minister in a Protestant denomination. So faith, belief, God, prayer, miracles, these were constant and frequent dinner table conversations when I was growing up. And as a child, I was a great believer in miracles. I found miracles in large things and small. My mom packing my favorite snack in my lunchbox, miracle. My grandfather surviving triple bypass surgery, truly a miracle. But as I grew into adulthood, I lost my faith. And there were many reasons for this loss. And as an aside, that would have to be a sermon for another time. But I mention this loss because it is very tied up with my unbelief in any God or divine presence, because tied up with that unbelief was the loss of a belief in miracles and in the miraculous. At that time, I didn't understand what that broader impact would be, this losing of miracles. But in giving up my belief in God, I lost my ability to find miracles in the world, to find that soul-deep joy that I could find when life was tough. And it wasn't until I became a parent myself that I reclaimed my faith. And I was at a very difficult time in my life. I was awake at 2 a.m., as one does when one has lots of worries. And I was engaged in my nightly worry fest about my children who were struggling on many levels. And at that time, Daryl was away more than he was home, traveling often for work. And I lay there feeling desolate, alone, and deeply worried for my children. Have any of you ever had that kind of 2 a.m. deep worry fest? Yeah. It's not a good place to be, I can attest. But in that 2 a.m. moment, I remembered back to my childhood faith, and I remembered never feeling alone. I remembered feeling that anything and everything could be a miracle. And so in that moment, I decided to believe again. I made that deliberate choice, a choice to believe that there is something greater than myself, a divine presence maybe, a great mystery, something that connects me to all of creation. And I made this choice because I remembered finding joy in feeling connected to this presence. And along with my choice to believe in spirit or mystery, divine presence, came my faith in miracles. This choice to see miracles in everything was for me an opening to joy. In that 2 a.m. moment, it felt like a holy act of resistance to life's unspeakable sorrows. So now every morning when I wake up, I recommit myself to this decision to believe. to opening myself up to miracles and to joy. This practice of finding miracles used to drive my kids crazy. Double benefit. They would roll their eyes at me when I declared small things to be a miracle. The sprouting of a seed, the flowering of my Christmas cactus, the deepening of a friendship. What I really meant, what I truly meant, was that these miracles reconnected me again and again with that divine spark, our interconnected web of all existence. And these miracles, they bring me a soul-deep joy that feels miraculous. So joy is a deep form of love. And why should there be any limit to these daily miracles? Ross Gay, poet and writer, took on a daily practice of writing an essay on delight that he experienced in his day. And he began the practice on one birthday and ended it on his birthday the next year. And what I found so beautiful in these daily essays was that they answered my children's criticism that something cannot be a miracle if it happens every day. In his essay titled Stacking Delights, he writes, yes, stacking delights defeats the purpose of temporal allegiance, which, note the caps, is a fancy way of writing on one's hand in the bathroom of the darn good soup shop what means simply dailiness. So today I am recalling the utility, the need of my own essayettes to emerge from such dailiness, and in that way to be a practice of witnessing one's delight, of being in and with one's delight daily, which actually requires vigilance. It also requires faith that delight is with you daily, that you don't need to hoard it. No, scarcity in delight. I love that. There is no scarcity in delight, people. There is no limit to joy. The practice of noticing, bearing witness to delight strengthens our joy muscle. Opening to joy is a daily choice, and it does require vigilance. And depending on the day, that can be truly, truly hard work. Making that 2 a.m. decision to believe in God or Spirit, to welcome in miracles, it did not erase the challenges and heartache in my life. What it gave me was balance and spiritual nourishment that I so badly needed. The daily practice of finding miracles, of opening to joy, brings an engagement with the world around us. It brings an understanding of our interconnection and our interdependence with one another and all of creation. Opening to joy means giving generously from our hearts, being present to gratitude. Offering compassion and forgiveness fills our hearts with a joy that is not diminished, nor is it less valid because it exists alongside of our sorrow and our pain. Joy does come naturally, and may we open ourselves up to it. May we find joy becomes a way of life as we practice that vigilance, as we bear witness to daily delights and miracles, and allow ourselves the cultivation of these joys, that they can be an expression of our deep and abiding love. May it be so. Our closing hymn is We Laugh, We Cry, which was written by 20th century Unitarian Universalist singer-songwriter Shelley Jackson Denham, who served as the music director of UU churches and on the staff at UU camps. Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing 354, We Laugh, We Cry. I just want to make a note. This song can be a little dirge-like unless you put a little zip, a little joy into it. So please sing out with all the joy in your heart. Number 354 in the Gray Hymnal.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
You may be seated. For our benediction, I offer you this blessing in this holiday season that is filled with both delights and challenges. May we choose to make joy our spiritual practice, to give generously, to share our hearts, to practice gratitude, and to act with compassion. May we open ourselves to the daily miracle of joy with faith that there is an abundance waiting for us to savor. And may we stack these joys with abandon, knowing that our joy is an expression of how deep our love for one another and the world is. And finally, may our joy and love be contagious, bringing balance and healing to the world's injustice, sorrow, and pain. May it be so. Our service begins when our service ends.